To be reviewing Shrek 2 since I did Shrek 1 a few months ago. And if you haven't seen Shrek 1, wait, what rock have you been living under? Seriously. The internet's not gonna forgive you. But yeah, anyways, so, getting right into it, Shrek 2 picks up right after Shrek 1, and obviously it opens up, Prince Charming is looking for Princess Fiona, and it turns out she's been taken basically by Shrek, and what I mean by taken, let's just say she's not single anymore. Yeah, they got married at the end of Shrek 1. And yeah, basically Prince Charming's obviously not happy about that. And, it's just like, hey, the early bird catches the worm in this situation. And, he's just going to have to deal with it. Or he's going to complain to his mom, who happens to be the fairy godmother. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So yeah, basically, Shrek and Fiona are on their honeymoon and whatnot, and they're enjoying it. As soon as they get back to Shrek's swamp, they see that the king and queen, who are Fiona's parents, they've invited Shrek and Fiona to Far, Far Away, which is basically the kingdom in which they rule and whatnot. And oh boy, right off the bat, this movie has so many jokes. Even the city itself, or the kingdom itself, I should say, Far, Far Away, is a joke in and of itself because it is obviously far, far away. I mean, there's a whole montage where they have to go through just cities upon cities and all kinds of weather just to get there. And I thought it was funny, and I love how they have the onion carriage from the end of the first movie. And there's just it kind of parodies like modern urban life and just today's culture and whatnot. And when they enter Far, Far Away, the kingdom, it almost looks like Beverly Hills / LA. It's a parody of that, and I just thought that's hilarious. So yeah, just gonna go over some things I liked about this movie. Shrek, played by Mike Myers, great. Cameron Diaz as Princess Fiona, she's actually quite good. Once again, they all knock it out of the park. Eddie Murphy as Donkey, like I said in my last video, aka Shrek 1, basically, yeah, again, he's basically almost like Deadpool. I still stand by that. He's basically just a motor mouth, and he runs his mouth, and that's what Eddie Murphy does. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop, it worked. It works in the Shrek movies. It works. It's just whoever writes his dialogue, good for him. I don't know how much of that's ad libbed, or I don't think it is ad libbed, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's quite funny to hear him just go off and just talk about everything, and they make pop culture jokes throughout, and it's all part of the joke, I guess. So yeah, John Cleese as King Harold, I thought that was he did a good job. Everyone was well cast. Oh, Julie Andrews, how could we forget? Mary Poppins is in this movie, which, I mean, that in and of itself is just, it's good casting. What can I say? As the queen, I mean, yeah. And then yeah, you really see that Fiona gets a lot of her qualities. Even though she never really met her parents, you can tell she kind of reflects things that her parents have kind of done in the past and whatnot. And I think that was good writing on their part to include that. And we got to see more of the characters, and we got to see Fiona's upbringing and whatnot. And that was all interesting. And it all works for this movie. I really enjoyed it as a kid, and it still holds up in my opinion. I think it's a really good movie. So yeah. Oh, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. What can I say? I mean, he plays a Zorro parody. I mean, that is awesome in and of itself right there. Yeah, he's basically, for those of you who don't know, Puss in Boots obviously is the cat. He has a black hat, and he wears leather boots, and he carries around a sword. I mean, I don't know. I think he's like a mercenary for hire, or like a hitman basically, which I thought was hilarious. But just yeah, they used a cat as a hitman, which, I mean, that's why people love this Shrek franchise, and that's why the internet loves it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, it works. Yeah. So things I didn't like. I felt like, I don't know, just, I guess it's not as fresh as the first one, obviously, because it's a sequel, and we've kind of seen some of the things from the first movie, and it doesn't get repetitive. Obviously, it's not the same movie as the first one. It's not that kind of sequel, but just like, okay, we've seen the fairy tale jokes from the first movie, and who am I kidding? I mean, this movie's really good. I mean, I'm just trying to find something to gripe, but really, there's not much to gripe about this movie. I mean, yeah, overall solid movie, solid voice work. You know, just so many great jokes. Like the scene where towards the end of the movie they have like the whole, you know, they have the giant gingerbread man, and he basically. Yeah, he tries to drink the fake Starbucks cup, and then all the customers they run out of the Starbucks and they go to the one across the street, which is hilarious because even back in 2004, we all knew that, you know, there's a Starbucks on literally every corner. It's just, I love that. The fact that the filmmakers did that was hilarious and whatnot, and yeah, that's actually good product placement on their part. That was hilarious, and yeah, I mean, Jennifer Saunders as I think that's how you say her name, as the fairy godmother. She was hilarious and whatnot, and you know the way they portray Prince Charming in this movie, he's basically just like he's a mama's boy, and he's just like he might be he's probably the best villain in the entire Shrek franchise. I mean, Farquaad was good, but let's face it. I mean, they make you really almost hate Prince Charming, but you kind of understand where he's coming from because he wanted to marry Fiona, obviously. But you know, it's classic fairy tale drama, and it all works. And yeah, oh, I forgot to mention the soundtrack. Just like in the first movie, it's good. I mean, this movie took everything from the first movie and maybe not made it better, but it followed that same sort of it did what the first one did well, and yeah, that's why I like this movie. So I'm not gonna give it a rating. I'm just gonna say it's one of my favorite animated movies of all time. So yeah, that's why I think of Shrek 2, and hopefully you guys like this video.